Welcome to the No Name Brand Podcast. My name is Sashka, actress, singer, dancer, turned brand marketing, sales, and advertising strategist who brands your soul. And each week I bring you an inspiring person or message to help you discover your undergod, turn up your leadership notches, challenge the status quo, because you're fast and furious with a powerful message to share with the world. Thank you for taking time out with me today, and without further ado, let's get our creative and wisdom juices flowing. Welcome back, everyone, to this week's No Name Brand Podcast. I'm your host, Sashka, and I'm super stoked to have you here with us today. Now, y'all, you know how multi-passionate I am. I mean, I have a gazillion interests, talents, gifts, and what I love doing is combining or using a bit of this and a bit of that in my life and my business. Well, our next guest is someone who's stumbled across my path and onto this week's show. And guys, you're going to have as much fun as I am today. Because our next guest is not only a #1 best-selling and award-winning author, international speaker, filmmaker, actor, radio personality, consultant, but also, get this, 4 times Ironman triathlete. Are you kidding me? So what does this say to me? Multi-passionate, disciplined, focused, determined, and ready to serve. When our next guest was a wee 3 years old, he said to his mama, "I was put here to inspire people." 3, folks, he was 3, and inspired he has. He's living his dream by creating positive media to inspire others to listen to your intuition and follow their heart to also inspire other people. But as we all know, a hero's journey never starts off hunky-dory. Nope. Movers and shakers always have a great story to tell of where they once were and how they rose up like a phoenix to where they are today. And today we're going to dive into the world of our next guest and be inspired by intuition. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only G. Brian Benson. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Sashka. It's a pleasure to be here. I feel like I should entering the boxing ring now or something.
The wrestling.
Little Eye of the Tiger in the background.
Yeah, exactly. So share with us where you are in the world today and what was the first thing that inspired you this morning?
Oh my. Well, I'm in Los Angeles. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Los Angeles, California. And the first thing that inspired me this morning, I went for a walk early this morning. The sun coming up over the trees. It was just still a little bit dark out, but it was clear out. So I knew that it was going to be a sunny day, and that's always good in my book.
Yeah, exactly. Bring on the sun. Yes, please. That's what I need right now. Had enough of the winter.
Yeah.
So share with us, what is positive media that you're wanting to create?
It's a lot of stuff, and it's still continuing to evolve. I mean, I really didn't plan on being this journey that I'm on, but so far it's a couple of self-help books, it's a couple of children's books, it's a couple of short films, it's videos, it's some inspirational poetry that I share in different ways. I know I'm missing some stuff. I did a TEDx talk a few years ago that was really a great and empowering experience for me. Scary too. But I'm open to kind of anything as long as it gets people thinking and really touches them. And ultimately, I think my goal, and I think it's kind of why we're here, I just want it to try to help people love themselves more. Everything falls into place when we do that.
Do you think part of it is also because the media, being an actor, being an author and a filmmaker, there's a lot of crap media happening out there. So
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, excuse me,
Yes,
can I just bring some positivity here?
Yeah, it's like I'm here to battle crap media. I don't really I shouldn't say, of course I pay attention to the news a little bit, but I really don't pay attention to the news a bit because a lot of it's just so manufactured and so low vibrational, and it's an instant ticket to not feel very well, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of good stuff going on in the world all over the place, but we don't see it enough. We're not reminded of it because if people were exposed to that, I think it would really make a big difference.
Yeah. I saw you were in one of Prince Aya's videos about I'm Black and White. And I'm like, where is he? Where is he? So where's G. Brian? Where's G. Brian?
Did you see me? I had the glasses on.
I did see you. That's positive media. I mean, those are spoken word and messages. And you also do spoken word, right?
A little bit, yeah. I'm venturing into that. I have a lot of poems. It's interesting. I don't really read poetry that much, but I am able to write it in layman's terms, but with depth. And I have a lot of stuff. I'm actually really excited. I'm going to be working with a friend of mine on a spoken word piece. It'll be kind of the first time that I've done it like this in a couple of weeks. So I'm really excited just to be involved in that and to share it. But I think it'll be a good step out of my comfort zone. And yeah. And I was really blessed. I was in another Prince EA video maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh, cool. You'll
Yeah.
have to
So
give us the link so we can link that up in the show notes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So the positive media, is it just, in inverted commas, you can just like wing it, let's just wing it with positive media. Let's just create a video and a movie.
Yeah.
Is it more your thoughts about positivity and creating the media around that? Or do you do that for clients as well? Or for entrepreneurs or for filmmakers as well? Or
That's a great question. Everything that I've pretty much created has been just an offshoot of my own personal growth process. And some of it I didn't really realize at the time, but looking back, it was, okay, I needed to learn that myself. And here as I'm creating it, hoping that will influence and help others, it's like, all right, this is for you first and foremost, Buster. So yeah, I mean, everything that I've done has just been a part of my expanding my awareness about myself, expanding my own, coming to terms with my own self-worthiness. We all suffer from that a little bit. So I've had to deal with that. And the Searching for Happiness short film that I did, there's probably times when I felt like I was searching for happiness, but yet I was able to kind of maybe tie it up into a nice little message and put a short film out there. And so everything that I've done really has just been an extension of that. It's really hard for me. I don't really create unless it's just, I feel really inspired and it just almost pours through me. I don't remember writing the books that I wrote. So it's kind of hard for me to like maybe create something on the spot. It's just kind of got to come organically. And then I just know I've got to do it. And so I just make it happen.
so it's channeled. And I watched Guitar Man, or a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And it's a great story. It's also very positive and an inspirational message. You wrote it and you acted in it. Did you produce it as well? So you edited and produced as well? Or
It was definitely a guerrilla style filming. I mean, it basically cost us nothing other than our time. And I just take a half a step back. When I left my family business about 8 years ago, I was terrified to speak publicly. And I had my first book kind of came through me unexpectedly.
wow.
And so I will maybe talk about that in a sec, but jumping forward, I did a whole bunch of different things that I knew that would force me to become more comfortable in front of people. Community college speech classes, Toastmasters. I created an interactive workshop because I figured I wouldn't have to talk the whole time, but it actually worked out pretty well. And then I also took an acting class, and I had no plans on acting. I just felt like it would be good for me. So after the class was over, I had a dream come to me a couple of weeks later, and I woke up and I wrote down Guitar Man.
Wow.
And I met a young filmmaker a few weeks after that, randomly, and I just said, hey, I have this idea. I've never made a film. I've never acted, but I'd like to try this. Would you want to do it? He said, let's do it. So it was a really empowering experience for me because I'd never acted, number one. And number two, I'd never played guitar in front of anybody. I was a closet guitarist. So it just woke me up.
Oh, wow. So you actually played the guitar?
That's all my music. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. I'm just a self-taught Delta blues junkie. So yeah. And so somebody else saw that and gave me the lead in their short film, which led to some other stuff, which led me intuitively to feeling like I needed to move here 4.5 years ago for kind of everything.
That's amazing. And it has quite a few nominations and awards as well.
Yeah, it did pretty well at film fests. That just was an icing on the cake because I felt like I was a huge winner just doing it and just learning that I had this potential creative juices inside of me that I didn't know I had prior.
That is so cool. So all the channeling. So as a kid, you loved sports, and clearly now as well, if you're doing a 4 times Iron triathlete. Hello, Ironman triathlete. And you always dreamed of being a basketball player for Portland Trailblazers?
Okay, I grew up in Oregon. Yep, the state of Oregon. Yep.
All right, okay. And as I mentioned, 4 times Ironman triathlete participating. And I mean, this for me is like, I know that sportsmen or in the sports area that you have to be very disciplined to achieve a set goal to get it done. So how did the leap or the shift go from sports to media and entertainment? And in between, what is also the family business. So how did you go and orientate yourself and go, you know what? I don't want that. I don't want that, but I'm going to do that.
It's crazy. I loved sports growing up. My dad took me to a lot of sporting events, and I played basketball and baseball, and I golfed at a very early age too, and became a really good golfer. So I just always loved sports. And when I was in college, I was playing mud football and I got tackled and my kneecap got knocked out of place.
Oh,
It
gross.
was nasty. And so I ended up having to have surgery. And a couple of my buddies had done a couple short triathlons. And this was still when triathlon was pretty new. It was like in the mid 80s. And the Hawaiian Ironman had only been around for like 7 years. So I just set a goal to rehab my knee and get in shape and maybe try one. And I did it, and I just felt really alive. And so I ended up doing 4 races that summer. And then the next year I did 10 races. And then the third summer I did my first Ironman. And so all told, I did like over 50 races. But it woke me up, and I just felt alive. And it wasn't really, yeah, it was work, and I had to train a lot, but it was just fun. And it kind of became my lifestyle at the tail end of my college years. So I then started running my family business for about 11 years, and I'd worked at it in high school too, and felt like I was supposed to do something else with my life. So it was comfortable, but I just told my dad, hey, I feel like I need to just take a leap into the unknown. And he was very accepting, and he was okay with that. So that was nice. But it ended up taking a year for me to actually leave after we had that conversation, because we decided to sell it. And so we had to go through the whole process of listing it and finding a buyer. And that year is kind of when it pointed me in this whole new direction. So I was feeling really out of balance during that last year and just really wanted to hit the road and just see what the rest of my life was going to be like. And so I sat down one day and I wrote down 5 things that I knew that would keep me in balance. And it helped me, and I focused on them. And then after that, my intuition just said, expand the list and write a book. And I'd never written really anything before, but it just kind of poured out of me. And it's a very simple self-help book, but I wrote that. And that was kind of the thing that it didn't sell a lot, because number one, I didn't know how to sell them. And I probably wasn't owning it, but it won a couple of awards. But so it just pointed me in this whole new direction. And that's when I began to do all those things to learn how to be comfortable in front of people. And so to tie the two together, I don't know if there's a lot other than the fact that doing the triathlons and working hard at that age, it was kind of nice to maybe have that in my back pocket, knowing that if I put my mind to something, I could accomplish pretty much anything that I felt like I wanted to. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, I've really just been lucky in that I learned how to trust my intuition from an early age. And the more you do that, the easier it gets. And the more you do that as well, you just learn to live a more authentic version of yourself. So that's kind of been my path.
I love it. And it's really interesting for me hearing it from a masculine, not in the form masculine, but from a masculine point of view, because most of the people that I'm surrounded with are all women.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you're the inconspicuous yes man from the movie. It's like, you're not deliberately saying yes or loudly saying yes. You're just kind of like, oh, okay, well, let's try this. Let's go. And then it turns into somewhere you go, wow, all right, well, let's just do this then.
Like I said, I really have an idea where maybe it's all headed, kind of. I feel like I'm supposed to do it on a bigger scale. Believe me, it's with shaking knees. And it's been through a lot of ups and downs and a lot of trial and error. But I just feel like it's my mission and what I'm supposed to do. So I just keep moving forward, even when it does get difficult. And I don't really feel like I'm supposed to be here to tell anybody what to do. I just want to be a living example for others, just to listen to their heart and you know what I mean? And just try something new, step out of their comfort zone and just see where it leads, because that's where the magic is.
It's so true. That is where the magic is, that leap of faith. I was just speaking about it today. So you wrote your first book, which is the personal development or the self-help.
Yep. Brian's list.
Brian's list. Yeah. 27 or something. What was it?
26 and a half easy to use ideas on how to live a fun, balanced, healthy life.
Yeah, exactly. Was this also at the time that you were searching for happiness, or that you did the video or the short movie, Searching for Happiness?
The book, I think, came out in 2009. And then Guitar Man came out in about 2011. And I really didn't act much. I was in Nevada then, but that just kind of got those wheels turning. And then I did another book called Finding Your Voice, I think in 2013. The short film Searching for Happiness happened when I was here in LA, probably 2.5 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. And what was your revelation there? So where do you find happiness?
Well, I guess I'll spoil it, but I mean, it's online if you want to go watch it. But yes, there's a lot of ways to kind of maybe find happiness, but it's not something you can just kind of go and buy or pick up or purchase. I mean, you kind of have to let it come to you sometimes, but you also, I think it comes from being of service. And that's kind of one of the messages I shared in the film. But I think it just comes from loving yourself and just really being okay with yourself. That ultimately is the best way to do it, because then it's a more stable part of you. You know what I mean? We can be of service now and then struggle and be of service and kind of have these fleeting moments of connection and feeling good and remembering what it's all about. But I think if we can marry those two.
Yeah. And whilst you were writing your book, like, what were the biggest challenges, uphills, downhills? Because you channel your book. So whilst you're writing it, like afterwards, is there the self-doubt? And it's like, are you serious? Like, are you really going to write it?
Well, for me, the writing part wasn't too bad. For me, where I struggled was owning it. And part of me felt like I needed to be almost perfect and pious because here I am now writing self-help. And I lost myself. I lost the fun part of me. You know what I mean? The part of me that likes a good dirty joke or some inappropriate humor or what have you, right? And so for a long time there, from probably 2009 until just fairly recently, a couple of years ago, I probably tried to a certain vision to me, or a certain part of me, but not maybe all of me. And authenticity is becoming more and more important as things move forward with the energies in the universe or whatever you want to call it. And all the crap that's starting to come up and the light that's being shown on the dark stuff, that people are wanting authenticity. And it's no accident I went through all that. I needed to go through all that. But ultimately, I'm just, as I teach myself how to be just open and share and be honest and share everything, warts and all, it was an interesting process because I struggled with that a lot.
Yeah, and it's good now. Or I mean, we always have some element.
You know, there's always, there's a little, every
yeah.
once in a while. I think where I've run into problems also is since I kind of have an idea where stuff's headed, and maybe whenever I would like create a project or something or really be excited about it and want to share it, and maybe it didn't have the reach or whatever that I'd hoped it would, that kind of knocked me down a little bit because instead of, I mean, I enjoyed the creation of creating it, but instead of just trusting and really surrendering to the process and putting it out there and trusting that whoever's supposed to see it would see it and just be good enough with that. Instead of like being knocked down when maybe it didn't reach the heights that I had hoped it would in my head. Maybe I felt like I was ready at times when I wasn't. And I still needed seasoning. And right now, I really feel like my foundation's solid. I've always worked on myself, and it's very important to me. But I've been at it for 8 or 9 years now. And there is no such thing as an overnight success, right?
Nope.
So I'm just trying to share my journey and let everybody know that they're enough.
Exactly. They are enough. But we'll never feel enough because there's so many layers and phases and limiting beliefs and crap that gets told that we believe or we take on as ours and getting rid of it. And there's just so many elements that we have to work on. But that's life.
Yeah.
That's life.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're here for as well, aside from serving and purpose and giving our life a meaning.
And I'm really just trying to have more fun. I mean, I'm a fun person and I've been a fun person at different parts. And I kind of got too serious there. If it's not fun, it's not worth doing.
Yeah.
And it really, 2 years ago when I released my first kids book, it did well that first week because I really had put a big launch on. But then I was depressed the following week after that because it just, I don't know why. Maybe I felt like it would do better, but it really couldn't. It was just this beginning of it. You know what I mean? And so I just kind of, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And I said, you know what? If it's going to be like this, I don't want to do it anymore. And seriously, because it was such a low. I know. Because I've worked my ass off and just invested so much time and energy and my own money and all these things that I'm doing. I mean, and I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong, but there's a part of me that was living in the wrong place. I would get into my head too much and just, I don't know. It's really got to enjoy the ride. And I'm working on that.
Life's too short.
Because I'm very self-driven. Yes.
And you have to be self-driven. Yeah, life's too short and you have to be self-driven. So you've written 4 books and you're in the process of writing another book. It's untitled at the moment. Da-na-na-na.
Yes. I just had another kids book come out last week. And then, I have another self-help book coming up this fall that's yet untitled.
Oh, that's brilliant. So you've got then 3 of these books are children's books. So not 2. So you have another one. Oh, so there are 2 children's books and the other 2 are self-help books. Now, do they all have a common theme of listening to your intuition and inspiring others? And what inspired you to write these books and for who? So share with us what the books are about and the children's books and for who and what the story is about.
The kids stuff, it's interesting. A long time ago, maybe 15 years ago, wrote a whole bunch while I was at the family business, would just sit down sometimes and just start writing these stories. They're rhyming. And so I had no plans on ever doing anything with them. I just kind of used it as a mental exercise because to put a story together from front to beginning in a rhyming fashion, it's like a big jigsaw puzzle. So I have a whole bunch of stories. And actually, when I was in Nevada, I met a young guy who worked for a company that made moving picture apps for children. And I signed a contract and they purchased 5 of my stories. And they started work on them and the art was looking really cool. And then they ran out of money.
Oh,
And it sat there for 2 years. And I asked to be released out of the contract and they did that for me. And then finally, like a year and a half ago, I said, all right, it's time. And so I did my first kids book, Steve the Alien. And it was a lot of fun and a really cool experience. And then I just did another one called Lucy and Chester's Amazing Adventures that came out last week. And I'm proud of both of them a lot. I'm really excited about the new one because it has a kind of an empowering little female character. And it's a fun story.
I love it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not that easy, in inverted commas, to write a children's story for children because there's so many hidden. I mean, Wayne Dyer, I have a few of the books here for my children. So when I'm reading it to them, sometimes it's so simple and yet childish, in inverted commas, but such strong messages that the kids get it as well. And they don't find it corny. So it's writing something.
No, I'm not into corny. It's hard to explain. They just come through me. And I would like to think, so I say, that my kids' books are enjoyed by adults too, just because they're rhyming and they use sometimes there'll be a big word or two in there and it's not talking down to people and it's not CJ and Run or anything like that. It's a rhyming story. And I like the cleverness of it.
I love it. I didn't look at the storybooks at the children's book sets, but I was like, oh, I'm going to go have a look at that because I love books for my kids and the kids are like, this is so exciting, another book. Yay! Can you read us? Because I get really involved in reading the stories. So how do you manage and feel about being a multi-passionate entrepreneur? And do you consider yourself a master of all trades and an entrepreneur? And how do you introduce yourself to people you've just met with such a long line of things, multi-passionate things that you do?
Well, to answer your last question first, now I just say I create positive media, books, video, films, whatever. But I enjoy it. And early on, a lot of people would tell me, you need to just focus on one thing or you need to brand yourself this way. And I always intuitively knew that I was going to be a little bit of everything and that was going to be part of me that stood out. And so I've kind of held firm to that. And I'm still needing a little bit of help in that department, but I like it all. I mean, I'm a Gemini. I don't know if that means anything, but I just like to do a little bit of everything. And I think that's one of the beautiful things that has kind of helped me get to where I'm at currently, because somebody will see this and somebody else will see this, and maybe this will lead to this and this will lead to this, but it's all still kind of bringing me to that place where I needed to be and solidify my foundation. And ultimately, I'm a spiritual person. I mean, I don't walk around in a flowing purple robe and speak in
She's a superstar.
tongues or anything like that. No, I mean, I'm a grounded guy, but yet I feel like I'm kind of maybe a thing that I could do is kind of help be a bridge for people to tap more into their true nature and spiritual side without making it seem weird or odd or uncomfortable. Because I don't really talk like that. It's just I have certain routines and practices and beliefs that have worked for me. But yet I've also run a business and done the athlete. But yet I'm a guy who's not afraid to be creative and share it. It was a little hard sometimes. What are people going to think of me? I'm this wimp or something. But you just got to share what comes out of you.
I love it. So I've got a few more questions, but before I ask you, because we're coming near the end, you're going to watch time my editor's like, So do you have your book close by that you can maybe read something for us from the book, one of the children's books or something? So just so that I'm going to go, all right, Brian, read us something. Yeah.
No, go, you finish, then I'm happy to.
Yeah, awesome. So where's the brand leading to? Where's G. Brian Benson brand leading to? Who is it you're wanting to be or become?
I really kind of feel like I'm who I want to become. It's just a matter of trying to get my stuff out in a little bigger way. And everything I've done so far has been self-published. And I've developed a nice following of folks, but yet it's still very limited. With this new book that's coming out this fall, I feel very blessed because I signed a contract with a publishing company. So it will be released on a wider scale. So that's nice. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. It's just I'm chomping at the bit to share in a bigger way.
Love that. Up-leveling, baby. Yes.
Yeah. Boom.
So to get us that book and read us something. This is very exciting. People, we're going to read some books. Lovely. We like that, like radio. Just so that I've just put him on the spot. So it's not something that was planned.
No, this is not planned. I'm going to read, a poem called Your Voice. And it's actually what I'm going to be doing the spoken word thing with a buddy of mine. Your voice creates a ripple over land and well beyond. Truthful words vibrate lifted. to create a loving bond. Your voice can be your freedom, or your voice can be your hell. Mindful heed and word and thought send forth love and light to gel. Your voice can give permission to another seeking truth. Authentic centered living taps into eternal youth. Your voice can be the difference to set a young child free. Loving words to encourage, a model for them to be. Your voice is your true freedom when it's spoken from the heart. Intuition's guiding path helps you play your destined part. Your voice gives inspiration for those too afraid to speak. Reassuring tones shared true will help others gain their peak. Your voice is your ready key to unlock your truthful worth. Spoken pure, life now renewed, energized, loving, rebirth. Your voice is fundamental for all life and love to flow. Empowered, valued, perfect, painting a worldly glow.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
That is amazing. I love that. Your voice is your freedom. Yes.
Yes, I wrote that maybe 5 years ago as I was trying to convince myself that I was enough.
Well, dude, I'd like to write poems that rhyme, but I need time to do that. I'm going to write a poem and it's going to go right home. Yeah. So we're nearing the end and I have two questions that I ask all my guests.
Okay.
And one of them being, how do you want to change or challenge the world doing what you do?
I think just be open to feeling more, just to open up themselves, just to let more in, to feel more, to be themselves, to not be afraid to stand in their authenticity.
I like that. And I'd like you to fill in the blank for three of my values. So creativity for you is?
My lifeblood.
Ooh. Wisdom for you is?
Wisdom for me is surrendering to the process.
Ooh. Passion for you is?
Oh boy. It's a lot of things. Doing something that makes you feel alive.
That's why I got it tattooed on my back. Passion.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, G. Brian, for being here with us today. It's
My
been
pleasure.
really awesome getting to know you. Thank you for crossing my path, for applying and sharing your intuition and inspiration with us so we could hear it as well. And that gorgeous poem, it's really beautiful. So I'd like to put that onto the show notes as well so we can have an excerpt of that. And if you want to find out more about G. Brian and go and watch his videos and in Prince Air, look in the show notes. You can connect with him on social media, on his website. You can go and download Why Your Dreams Aren't Working. I think you have that on your website as well.
Yeah.
And you can download that as well and get to know him. He's a great guy. And spread some positive media. That's how we like it. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And thank you to the listeners. And keep on listening. And remember, we're on Spotify now. So that's pretty cool. Thanks so much for being with us here, G. Brian.
Thank you, Sashka.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dang, that was just supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I enjoyed having you on board, and please do me and you a favor. Head on over to iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. Click subscribe, and a super bonus, leave your review and you stand a chance of being announced and advertised on the show. I'm always striving to ensure that your brand is uplifted and empowered. Remember, done is better than perfect. So be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and send in your feedback too. You're the absolute best. Keep rocking.